I didn't plan to come back. After I left Edenvale, a quaint little town that had a tendency to choke you with its polite smiles and sharp whispers, I swore I'd never set foot here again. But the universe, with its twisted sense of humor, always had other plans. I stepped off the train, suitcase in one hand, my old engagement ring in the other. The same ring his mother insisted on choosing herself. A family heirloom, she'd said, cold and proud, as if the diamond could erase the fact that she never once looked me in the eye during the entire engagement. That ring had never felt like mine. It was hers. Just like everything else in his life. Jason Westwood, my ex-fiancé, all charm and dimples on the outside, but spineless to the core. I loved him once, stupidly, fiercely. I thought he loved me back, until he let his mother, Helena, slowly and cruelly poison us. Helena Westwood, Edenvale royalty, owner of the Westwood estate, sponsor of every social charity, and the kind of woman who could smile at you while mentally calculating just how much you weren't good enough. From day one, she decided I wasn't worthy of her son. Not rich enough, not educated in the right schools, not from the right family. I was a charity case she was never quite able to write off. Until she found her opening. One anonymous tip about my father's debts, a fabricated story about my intentions, and just like that, Jason started pulling away. The wedding was called off 3 months before the date, and Helena didn't even pretend to be surprised. She acted like it was inevitable, a relief even. But what Helena didn't count on was me coming back. Not broken, not bitter, but ready. The town hadn't changed much. Same red brick storefronts, same ivy-covered library, same fake nice shopkeepers who probably already heard I was back. I checked into a boutique inn, ironically the same one Jason's sister held her bridal shower at, before she too was married off to a legacy name. The girl had once whispered to me that Helena picked her husband too. That made 2 of us. By noon, I'd already passed by Westwood and Whitmore, the law firm Jason worked at now. He'd joined as a junior partner after our split, thanks to his mother's connections, of course. It used to sting, watching him succeed while I had to rebuild everything from scratch. But I had something more now. Leverage. I wasn't here to reminisce. I was here because Helena had made a mistake. A small one. But one that mattered. Last month, her family trust made a quiet investment in a local heritage estate, one I'd recently bought under a different name, for a fraction of what it was worth. She planned to turn it into an event venue to host her usual fundraisers and keep herself queen of the social ladder. But that wouldn't be happening. Not if I had anything to do with it. That night, I sat at the bar in town, sipping something floral and expensive. I wore my confidence like a dress, tight in all the right places, and just as I expected, Jason walked in. He hadn't changed much. Same perfect hair, same deer-in-headlights look when he saw me. He paused as if unsure whether to approach. I didn't even flinch. I just smiled, raised my glass, and said, "Well, well, look who crawled out of his mother's lap." His jaw tightened. And just like that, the game began. Jason stood there frozen, like his brain couldn't decide whether to be embarrassed, defensive, or just confused. I kept sipping my drink, completely unfazed, let him stew in it. He finally walked over, slowly, cautiously, like he was approaching a wild animal he once owned but now couldn't predict. "Didn't expect to see you back here," he said, sliding into the bar stool next to me. "I get that a lot," I replied, not looking at him. "Then again, I didn't expect to be dumped via email, but here we are." He winced. "Good. Margot, Don't," I said, finally turning to look at him. You lost the right to explain when you let your mother play chess with my life. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. That's the difference. There was a beat of silence between us. I could feel him wanting to defend himself. Maybe he even believed his excuses. But it didn't matter anymore. Because I wasn't here for him. I was here for her. 2 days later, I got the invitation. A cream envelope, thick and expensive, hand-delivered to the inn. Inside, a single elegant card embossed with Helena Westwood's signature font. You are cordially invited to an intimate dinner at the Westwood estate to discuss the future of the Graceland property. We believe there has been a misunderstanding that we'd like to resolve civilly. Warmly, Helena Westwood. Warmly, cute. I had expected something eventually. The moment her lawyers realized that Langdon Holdings, the anonymous buyer of the Graceland estate, was actually, well, me. She probably nearly broke her wrist throwing crystal across the room. She didn't know it yet, but that estate was mine now. And without it, her grand new event venue dreams, her next big social ladder climb, would fall apart. I RSVP'd yes, of course. The Westwood estate hadn't changed either. Same perfectly trimmed hedges, same pretentious lion statues at the gate, same lingering smell of jasmine and judgment. Helena greeted me at the door herself. She looked exactly how I remembered her, hair like polished silver, lips lined with control, and eyes that only softened when they were closed. "Margot," she said with a practiced smile, still as spirited as ever. "Helena," I said, matching her tone, "still pretending to like people you despise." She let out a cold laugh. "Why don't we skip the pleasantries?" Gladly. Dinner was served in the gold room. Of course she had a gold room. Jason was there, seated quietly, probably hoping the tablecloth would swallow him whole. Helena wasted no time. "I'll be direct," she said, folding her hands like a CEO about to fire someone. "I think you've made your point." "Have I?" I said, biting into a too crisp piece of duck. "I'm just getting started." "Your purchase of the Graceland estate. It's inconvenient." That's the word you're going with? Not catastrophic? Embarrassing? Publicly humiliating? Helena's eyes narrowed slightly. "What do you want?" I leaned forward, elbows on her heirloom table. "I want you to feel what it's like to lose something you believe you're entitled to." I don't respond to threats. "It's not a threat, Helena," I said. "It's karma, wearing heels." Jason tried to cut in. "Margot, please." "I'm not here for you, Jason," I said without looking at him. "You had your chance. You gave it up the moment you let your mother bulldoze everything we had." Helena bristled. "You think taking one property makes you powerful?" "Oh no, owning it is just the start," I said. "But don't worry. I'm turning Graceland into something beautiful. A creative hub for women rebuilding after heartbreak, betrayal, and generational snobbery. There'll be yoga, pottery, maybe a seminar on how to spot a mama's boy before it's too late." Her jaw clenched. She hated it. Every word. I stood up. "Thanks for dinner. You always did know how to serve revenge best. Cold and under-seasoned." And just like that, I left. Again. But this time, I walked away in heels she couldn't fill. It was poetic, really. The same Helena Westwood who once told me that I'd never understand legacy was now fighting to get her name on an event that she no longer owned. Because Graceland Estate, the pride of Edenvale's countryside, her pet project turned status symbol, was now mine, and I wasn't done yet. The relaunch gala was set for the first weekend of spring. I sent out the invites personally. I made sure hers was the last to arrive, fashionably late and signed in the same calligraphy she once mocked for being unrefined. And of course I addressed it directly to Mrs. Helena Westwood, plus one optional, notably not required. The night arrived with a velvet sky and a breeze warm enough to carry all the town gossip. The estate had been transformed, no longer the cold colonial relic Helena once envisioned, but glowing, earthy, and alive. Lanterns strung through the trees, local artists showcasing their work, a jazz trio playing near the old fountain she wanted to demolish. People kept asking how I pulled it off, but the truth is, people wanted something new, something real. They were tired of Westwood dominance and performative charity. They just needed a reason to shift. I gave them one. She arrived at 8:17 p.m. Late, of course. Dressed like she owned the stars and could sue the moon for showing up without an invitation. Jason trailed behind her. He looked different, tired, smaller. I barely noticed him. "Margot," Helena said, sweeping toward me. "This is quite the production." "You like it?" I asked, twirling the stem of my champagne glass. "It's what happens when women support women instead of just tolerating them." She didn't laugh. She never did when she didn't have the upper hand. "I hope you're enjoying your little moment." "Oh, I'm enjoying the whole era," I said. "And look around, so is everyone else." And she did. She looked around and saw people mingling without her, smiling without seeking her approval. Even the mayor was deep in conversation with an artist she once called bohemian riffraff. Her empire had turned into someone else's playground. Mine. Jason approached later, quiet and cautious. "I never wanted it to end this way," he said. I looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time I didn't feel anger or pain. I just felt free. "I did," I said softly. "Maybe not at first, but now, this is exactly how it needed to end." He nodded, guilt sinking into his shoulders. "You're incredible, you know that?" "Too bad you didn't realize that before your mother did," I said with a smile. By 11 p.m., Helena left early. No scene, no grand exit, just a tight smile, a polite nod, and the quiet crumble of a queen dethroned. I stood at the balcony as she got into her car, watching her drive away from the estate she once thought she'd claim. It was the sweetest silence I'd ever heard. They say revenge is best served cold. But this wasn't cold. This was fire. This was freedom. This was the sound of my heels echoing down a marble hallway that used to be hers. And it was just the beginning.